Remember Pop Tarts? Those frosted, doughy rectangles of deliciousness that you could eat? It would have you flying high in the sky, and then 30 minutes later you came crashing back down, not sure what happened. Man, I love some Pop Tarts. And I was in Walmart one day, and I found these in the store, and I was so excited. Not quite sure what I was expecting, but it just tasted like a protein bar that was kind of soft, kind of had a Pop Tart thing. It did have some sprinkles on it, so there was that, but it didn't taste like a Pop Tart. And I wanted Pop Tarts. So I set out to try to make one, and I think I succeeded. You can even put these in the toaster to heat them up if you don't put the icing on them first. If you ice them and then put them in your toaster, at best, you're gonna need a new toaster. At worst, you're gonna have to redecorate your whole kitchen. So unless that's the plan, unless you need a new toaster or a new kitchen, ice them after you put them in the toaster. Or I'll show you another way to heat them up. So let's do some Pop Tarts today on Southern Keto, shall we? Well, hopefully by now you've seen Unfrosted, the Pop Tart movie starring Jerry Seinfeld, or at least have heard of it. It's on Netflix if you haven't. And if you don't know who Jerry Seinfeld is, well,
no soup for you.
then you must be too young and you missed the best days of television. Stop this video right now and go binge watch that. No, just binge watch this channel instead. No, just catch up later. You'll love it. Anyway, it's a hilarious movie, but it also kind of tells the tale of how the big food companies, through all their characters and marketing, changed the face of American food and made people fat and sick. I don't watch a whole lot of movies, but when a movie comes out about food, I gotta see it, and this one is worth watching. But anyway, I didn't come here to talk about the movie. Just check it out. I came here to talk about some low-carb Pop Tarts. I'm gonna make two different versions. I'm gonna make a blueberry, I'm gonna make a strawberry. And maybe eventually I'll do a chocolate or something else. Leave me a comment down there if you want me to do that. So let's get into the kitchen. I'm gonna show you how to put together these Pop Tarts that aren't gonna make you come crashing down to the ground without knowing what happened, and that have ingredients that you can pronounce. So you can be sure you're getting a lot better version of Pop Tarts, a lot healthier. If you have the craving for Pop Tarts, give these a shot. Let's get into the kitchen. I'm gonna show you what's popping. Here are all the ingredients you're gonna need to make these Pop Tarts. The first thing you're gonna need is some almond flour. Then you're gonna need some coconut flour because it's great for baking. It says so right on the bag. You're gonna need some cream cheese, and you're gonna need 8 ounces of cream cheese. So you don't need both of these packs, just one of them. You're gonna need some of the confectioner's sweetener or powdered sweetener. This one's not my favorite, but it's what I had on hand at the time. Then you're gonna need some butter. Make sure you get a good grass-fed butter, either this Kerrygold or the same one, grass-fed at Aldi. And you're gonna need yourself 3 eggs. Get the best ones you can get. And some vanilla. Make sure you get real vanilla extract, not any of that fake stuff unless, you know, you got a beaver deficiency. Then you're gonna need some salt, either the Redmond's real salt or pink Himalayan, whichever you like. And now for the filling. I'm gonna do 2 different fillings on this video, so you get 2 videos for the price of 1. So the first thing we're gonna need is some blueberries, because we're making blueberry Pop Tarts. And we're gonna make some strawberry Pop Tarts. You should have some real good strawberries right now. And then you're gonna need one of my favorite ingredients, xanthan gum. Use it to thicken all kind of stuff. And you're gonna need a little bit of water, and that's for the filling. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. The first thing we're gonna do is take 2 cups of almond flour and just put it in a blender. Then you're gonna go ahead and mix in your coconut flour. Now you can do this in a mixing bowl as well, but my favorite yellow mixing bowl was dirty, so I just did it all in the blender. Then add in your sweetener and your salt. So all the dry ingredients are gonna go right in there to get mixed up together. And now I'm gonna put the lid on it and I'm gonna mix it up until all those dry ingredients come together and make one uniform unit. Now if you use the blender, you're probably gonna have to go in just like this with a spatula and scrape it down and then reblend it until it all comes together. You may wonder why I got a paper towel on top of that. Well, when you lose the plastic piece that holds everything in, that's what you gotta do. So this is what it should look like when it's all brought together. Then we're gonna add in our cream cheese and our butter. Now these are both softened, so leave the cream cheese out at room temperature. And I throw them in the microwave in that blue mug for about 15-20 seconds until it starts popping real good and sounds like it's going to explode. That helps soften it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and crack my eggs in there. And I know I shouldn't be doing it right over the container, but I didn't get any shell in there, I don't think. So for this, I'm using 1 egg and then 1 egg yolk, just for a little bit of extra fat in there. And look how beautiful those eggs are. That's what happens when you get that pasture-raised stuff. They eat right, so you get all the nutrition in there. I love them. And then the last thing I'm going to add in there is just some vanilla. Again, make sure you use the real deal. So now that we got all the ingredients in there, we're just going to make the dough for the outside of these awesome Pop Tarts. So just pulse it just to bring it together. You don't want to put that thing on like a high blend and try to see how fast you can do it. Just be patient until it comes together into a dough. And just make sure you scrape those sides down so that it'll all come together at one time. And that's what it should look like when it's all done. That's your dough. So we're going to get ready to put this on the cutting board. Now, if you like videos like this and you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there. Hit the bell next to it, and then anytime I do a new video like this, you'll know about it. Now on my cutting board, I didn't put any almond flour or anything like that. You can if you want to. You can even give it a little bit of spray, but really, this dough is so nice, it didn't stick at all, and so you just get your cutting board ready however you like it. Then I'm going to form it into a ball, so I'm just going to roll it up until it gets a nice dough ball, and then we'll move on to the next step. And this is what it should look like when it's all together into a dough ball. And now what I'm going to do is just take some of that plastic wrap, and we're going to put the dough ball inside that, and we're going to let it hang out in the freezer for about 15-20 minutes just to get nice and cold so we can work with it. We're going to make our tops and bottoms out of this. And after it gets to chill in the freezer, I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350 degrees so we can put those Pop Tarts in later. And now that the oven's preheated and the dough ball's chilling, we're going to go ahead and make the fillings. You can make these ahead of time too, but we're going to go ahead and start with the strawberry filling. So we'll put the strawberries in, and you're going to have this on about a medium heat or so. We're going to add just a little bit of some nice cold H2O in there just to help speed it along. Now if you got really, really juicy strawberries, you may not need to do this, but I could just tell when I cut them they weren't going to be juicy enough, so I add a little water just to help out. And don't add in a whole ton of water, just a little bit, enough to get this cooking down. And then just stir it every once in a while, just let it cook down, start releasing all those juices, and get nice and happy in there. And then once it's boiling pretty good, you can go ahead and put in anywhere from a teaspoon to a couple teaspoons of some of that sweetener. And I told you earlier that wasn't really my favorite sweetener. What I really like to do is use the Magic Baker's Blend by Splenda. And it's not Splenda, I don't use regular Splenda sweetener, it's their Magic Baker's Blend. But you can just put it in a small blender and blend it up until it makes a powder, and it's delicious. I wish they would make a confectioner's version of it, but right now they don't have it. So ideally, I'd use that or some allulose. Powdered allulose will work great too, but I use what I have on hand. Then just start breaking these strawberries down as best you can. We're actually going to throw it in the blender in a little bit just to get it nice and smooth. But if you like a little bit of texture in there, it ain't going to hurt anything. So for me, I wanted a smooth, but just a little bit chunky mixture in mine. It's going to work fine inside the pastry part. So just throw it inside this Ninja Auto IQ blender or whatever kind of little blender you got. And I'll always put links in the description for all the stuff that I use on these videos. You know, if you like the stuff that I use, it'll save you some time in the kitchen. But just blend that until it's the consistency that you want. Now I'm going to put it back on the heat for just a couple minutes, cook it down a little bit more, and you can see how I still got a few little chunks in there like that. I'll break them up just a little more. You don't want huge chunks, but if you like a little bit of texture in there, it ain't going to hurt anything. It'll hold up just fine. And then I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to add in the xanthan gum and just mix it up real good and make sure that you get all the lumps out, and we're going to set it to the side. And now we'll make our beautiful blueberry filling. So the first thing we'll throw in the pool is the blueberries, and we'll start cooking those down just like we did the strawberries. And just give them a little bit of love every once in a while. Stir them up. You can break these down. They got a higher amount of juice in them than the strawberries did, so these are going to cook down just fine. But you're still going to need to add just a little bit of water in there just to help them along a little bit. And then once that's bubbling and boiling like that on the medium heat, you just break them down a little bit. Use your spoon, break them, get all the juice out of there. Man, this is going to be good. And then once it's cooked down the way you want it, if you want to take all the lumps out of it, you can. You can blend it up just like you did the other. To me, this is fine. And I'm going to add in my xanthan gum. And you know what I forgot in the beginning? Some sweetener. So I'm going to add in the sweetener now. It's fine if you do that. Just make sure you mix it all up. Get all the lumps out from that xanthan gum. And just get that sweetener in there real good. And this is going to make a delicious sauce. Make sure you taste it. You want it a little sweet, but not overly sweet, because we do have sweetener in the pastry and the frosting we're going to make. So now we just set these fillings to the side to thicken up. Oh man, now tell me those don't look great. And now it's about time to put these Pop Tarts together. So I'm going to get a little egg wash together. You don't need to add anything to it other than just an egg, and whisk it up real good to brush on the top. And that dough's been chilling, literally chilling in the freezer. So we're going to take it out, and we got tops and bottoms. So what I'm going to do is cut this in half. Half of it's going to be for the tops, half of it's going to be for the bottoms, half of it's going to be for strawberry, half's going to be for blueberry. And of course, you don't have to make strawberry and blueberry, but I just wanted to show you how in case you did. It should make 6 Pop Tarts in all. Now what I'm going to do is take some parchment paper, and you know my trick, ball it up like that and then flatten it out again, and it's going to hold exactly where you want it instead of curling up. And I'm going to take my dough ball, put it on the parchment paper, and I'm going to roll it between 2 pieces of parchment paper until I get it flat and uniform. And you want to try to roll it into a rectangular shape, because we're going to make them look just like Pop Tarts, or as close as we can get. So just cut the edges, put it back on top, and then re-roll it again. And as you can see, in between the rolling, I went and got my nails done. Hope you like them. Okay, well, that's my wife's hands, not mine, but you know what I mean. But just form it into rectangles like that. And then once you get a nice rectangle, we're just going to cut it into 6 even pieces. So just cut your first rectangle in half, and then cut those into thirds on each side for the tops and the bottoms. And then do the exact same thing for the other half of the dough ball. Now we're going to take them, put them on a parchment paper lined baking tray for their final baking. And then it's time for the filling. So first I'm going to put together the strawberry ones. So just take that strawberry filling and put, might be a tablespoon, might be a little bit more than that. Just put it right in the middle. You just want to kind of spread it out evenly, but you don't want to get close to the edge, because we're going to crimp these edges down together. And you don't want that stuff to come squirting out while it's cooking. And now it's time to make the Pop Tarts. We're going to put the tops on. So just lay the other pieces right on top of those. And man, they are starting to look pretty Pop-Tarty to me. And now, just take the egg that we whisked up, and we're going to brush the top of each and every one of these. And that's going to help them brown up real nice and make a nice little bed for our icing that we're going to make to lay right on top of. And now we'll do the exact same thing with the blueberry ones. Man, the blueberry is my favorite. And don't forget to give it a little taste, you know, for quality control. And then brush the tops of all those with the egg also. And we're going to get ready to make the frosting while these are baking. So this icing or frosting, whatever you want to call it, it's real easy to make. So let me know in the comments if you call it icing or frosting. Anyway, just get you a nice heaping, about a half cup, maybe a little more of some of that sweetener. And we're just going to add a little bit of water into it until it forms the consistency that we want. So a nice thick icing that's going to hold up real well on top of these Pop Tarts. And that's about the consistency you want right there. You don't want it to be too thin. It needs to hold up on top of these Pop Tarts. Oh yeah, that'll do it right there. That's gonna be some good stuff. And now we gotta seal these up. So just take a fork, unless you got one of those fancy sealer things, you can use that, whatever you got. But if you just take the fork, just go right through that top layer. You don't wanna go all the way through it. Just kind of bring that top layer down into the bottom layer, just enough to seal it up so that filling don't go busting out of there while they're baking. You know what we need here? Some nice forking music. So this is what they should look like when you're done. And man, these are looking good already. Now they're ready for the final ride to the oven. So we'll throw them in the oven and make sure you set your timer because you don't want to forget about these bad boys. They are so good. We're going to do 15 minutes on these. And this is what they should look like when they come out of the oven. Oh man, look at those. Oh, but something's missing. We got to put on that frosting. And then just use your favorite little paintbrush to get the frosting even across the top of all of them. And then if you want to add some of your own sugar-free sprinkles to it, hey, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. I like it. I think it makes it look like Pop Tarts, so I'm gonna use it. And just remember, if you're planning on toasting these to heat them back up, don't put the icing on top of them. So I'm gonna leave one of them unfrosted so I can just pop it right in the toaster. So now we got 2 of these with frosting and sprinkles and 1 without, because I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you do the toaster. Oh, what's that? Hang on. Disclaimer. Putting the Pop Tarts into the toaster with icing on them may result in personal injury, burning down the house, burning down the toaster, destruction of the Pop Tarts, personal property, and other things. Proceed with caution and do not ice the Pop Tarts and put them in the toaster. If you ice them, try this method instead. And hey, if you go ahead and do the icing on them, then you just throw them in the microwave for 20 seconds and they'll come out just fine. This message is approved by Southern Keto. If you put them in the toaster, just check on them and take them out whenever they're done and hot. Now these Pop Tarts are done. Let's take a look and see what they look like in the middle. This is the strawberry. Oh man. Now you don't have to make it quite as thick in there if you don't want to, but man, it's delicious like that. I made the blueberry just a little bit thinner to show you what that looks like. And oh man, is that ooey, gooey, and delicious or what? So if you've been missing and craving Pop Tarts, I hope now you know how you can have your Pop Tarts and eat them too. If you like keto sweets or keto desserts, I'm gonna put this playlist over here with some other stuff that I think you're gonna love. Hey, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.